Hi, I'm Alex Gunz, the Fund Manager of the Heptagon Future Trends Equity Fund, and I'm here today to talk to you about quantum computing. The future is about far more than just artificial intelligence. So let's take a step back. Computing has been one of the most revolutionary factors in our lives. It has a huge impact on every single industry, every single interaction almost that we do on a daily basis. And that's great, but there's also a problem, and that is simply that computers can't do everything we want them to do. And even with the advent of AI, there is still this huge unresolved challenge out there. The challenge, and we've talked about this regularly in our research and our literature over the years, is simply the following. How do we allocate scarce resource efficiently in a world where the population is still growing? And one of the best ways we think you can answer this question is really through enhanced optimization. And in summary, that's the potential that quantum really has. Now, we've been writing about quantum, we've been thinking about quantum since 2017, and the big question that's really been on many investors' minds is, great, this is something which theoretically is very elegant, but when does it become practical reality? Now, the good news is, we think there is increasing evidence that this is becoming practical reality. Just by virtue of one data point we'll share, I would highlight that last year, over 4,000 academic papers were published on quantum. That's double the level you saw at the start of the last decade. Also, if you look around, you will see a huge range of companies, everyone say from Boeing to Exxon, that are actually talking about what they're doing with quantum today. And any business really can just go online, go into a cloud environment, find a provider like IBM, and actually play around with quantum. So we think the potential or the possible tipping point really isn't that far away. Now let's just pause for a second and really remind listeners, if they're not familiar, what makes quantum more interesting, more exciting than conventional computing. I think probably the best analogy, the easiest way we can explain this, is to take the image of a coin. And typically when you toss a coin, you will have one of two outcomes. It will either be a head or a tail, just like a 0 or a 1 in conventional computing. Now, what quantum does is that it imagines every single possible state, every permutation, every possible 0 or 1 as that coin is flying through the air. It calculates them all, and that really gives you many more possibilities, much more optimization. So I think we draw two conclusions or two observations from this dynamic. Number one is that quantum can be applied to every single industry, and that's super exciting. The challenge, however, is that in this new quantum world, pretty much the whole computing architecture will need to be thought through. So let's dig into these in a little bit more detail. When you think about the opportunity, we've already cited a couple of businesses that are publicly trialing quantum today, but let's think about some other use cases or examples. Medicine would be a really good one, improved drug development, more use cases in that respect, enhanced materials, more sustainable materials, optimization for traffic systems and logistics, better risk management for trading strategies or insurance. The list goes on. So we think there's no shortage of possible use cases. If we think about the next question, how might investors possibly gain exposure to this theme? As we highlighted, it's a very, very large ecosystem. Pretty much every part of the computing stack, if you will need to be reconfigured in some way. We're excited to see that some businesses, some of the larger, better known companies in the world, particularly IBM, but also Microsoft and Google, are already beginning to address this. They're clearly well-known companies, and we also note there is a whole micro ecosystem, if you will, of smaller, more dynamic companies focusing just on certain niches within the quantum field coming up. Many are listed already, businesses like D-Wave, Arkit, just as two examples. The challenge, however, is that none of these businesses is making money today. Now, we've always said that when it comes to thinking about the future and then investing in it, it is so important to separate hype from reality. We don't think quantum is yet in a hype phase, but at the same time, it's clearly very difficult to invest in it directly through pure play businesses today. So I think really the conclusion we want our investors to take away, we want our listeners to take away, is that quantum is potentially at a tipping point. We think it's only going to get more exciting. We'd encourage listeners to read our note. We'll continue to follow the theme, watch this space, and thank you so much for listening. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out either to me or to your representative at Heptagon. Thank you very much.